the moment I was dreading in the Eames-Bradley process of being in the Commission, whether we needed a Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Northern Ireland, was our meeting with the Orange Order. Having been brought up in those circles, as always, that tends to be the community you're most embarrassed by, the one you were nurtured in. And I was expecting a pretty rough evening. But for once, the Orange Order played their cards brilliantly, because they didn't come to argue with Robin Eames and myself and Dennis Bradley and the others in the Commission. They sent 3 people to tell their stories of how they had been victims of the Troubles. A man in his 70s who had been a part-time policeman in the early days of the Troubles, and a bomb had been planted in his tractor and he had his legs blown off. And as he told his story, he talked about the number of years, days and hours since it happened, and he's been in pain ever since. And I thought, he's counting. He's counting the harm that this has done to him, and we're expecting to come up with a process that will lead him to forgive and to be reconciled, when all this man can do is survive every day with the pain and count the hours. And then they sent a young man whose father had been killed by the IRA, and if that wasn't bad enough, regularly somebody would phone the home and keep asking for the father and saying, oh yes, I forgot, we've already got him, so we don't need to speak to him. On his father's birthday, on the anniversary of the death. And this was in the days when Sinn Féin weren't allowed on the airwaves. And shortly after that broadcasting ban was lifted, a senior Sinn Féin spokesperson finally had their voice broadcast, and this was the voice that the young man had heard on the phone. And he had a nervous breakdown and spent 3 years in care and was on a very fragile journey, both of faith and of personal recovery, and was struggling that he now had to accept that this person was a political representative in his community. Now, I don't want to put all the story one side, because equal horrific stories can go the other side. But forgiveness is not abstract, and the Bishop asked a profound question about the ongoing relationship with Germany. These are things that have to be lived out when we have to live with each other. And what I really appreciated with your book was that you didn't try to instrumentalize it. You left it as space to be occupied and to be wrestled in with no easy answers.